Let's start this morning the way we should start every morning, which is, you know what I'm going to say, and you know what you're going to say in response. So here we go. Go West! Go West! Exactly. Love it. Other reminders, you're not supposed to be using your phone or whatever your latest technology is, your Google glasses or Google earpiece or whatever. If you could, make sure those are in non-communication mode. At 11 o'clock, we'll have a break in which everyone will be scrambling to find what's super secret text. Like I told folks in my office, 75% of my emails come from people in this room right now, so I don't think I'm going to have a whole lot of communication. But just in case, we can check at 11 to 11:15. Until October 1st, that will also be a time for you to go outside at a safe distance and kill yourself with nicotine. So feel free to do that. Until then, though, for the next 2 hours and 15 minutes, we are going to get in full retreat mode. We're going to begin by hearing from a student, Zach Bearden. For those of you not familiar with Zach, I'm going to provide a little bit of bio information. First of all, from Villa Rica. So those of you from Villa Rica, this is where you go, woo, yeah, Villa Rica. Yeah. He graduated from West Georgia in December. He will be graduating with an accounting degree. He's interested in becoming a CPA in the future. He's held several leadership positions here at West Georgia during his time. He is the president of Chi Phi. He was awarded IFC Man of the Year and Outstanding Chapter President. So during his time here, he wasn't just a solid student in the Richards College of Business, he's also been a student leader. And Zach is going to speak to us this morning and get us going with, connection to purpose. And I'll leave it at that. Let's hear what Zach Bearden has to say.
Good morning. Okay, so I was asked to do this about 2 weeks ago, and it was tough for me to figure out what exactly I wanted to say. So just bear with me. All right, so my leadership experience at West Georgia, it all started at the beginning of my junior year. When I was a freshman, though, I came to West Georgia. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, what I was looking for, so I ended up joining fraternity. When I joined my fraternity, I ended up having one of the highest GPAs in my pledge class, which, from a pledge class GPA of 2.0, it wasn't very impressive. So I got involved with the fraternity. I didn't really know what I wanted to do from a leadership standpoint. I didn't really know a lot about leadership. I played sports in high school, so everything I always knew was, lead by your actions and all that. And so, continuing on, another year down the road, our fraternity's struggling in all sorts of aspects. I wasn't really involved in it. I was one of the ones mainly just complaining. And finally, I decided that I wanted to get involved and try to help change it for the better. And that's I guess, when my whole leadership growth and everything started. So, forward to my junior year, fall 2012, I got elected as our new member educator, which is considered pledge trainer. And so I was in charge of all our new members. And for me, I wanted this position because I wanted to have a say on who would be getting into our fraternity, who I would be calling my brothers, and I wanted to be able to hold these members accountable to set a new standard for which our whole fraternity as a whole would end up moving towards. So that's absolutely when my whole training and everything began. So right when I got involved, the first thing I thought about was accountability, setting that minimum standard. And then the biggest thing I went back to was all the stuff I learned from playing sports all the way through high school, middle school, and all that, was I need to lead by example. And so one of the biggest things about being a fraternity man, or what's supposed to be about being a fraternity man, is holding yourself to a higher standard, being involved in extracurriculars on campus, being better academically, and all sorts of this other stuff. And so right away, what I thought I needed to do, well, if I'm going to expect these new kids to be involved in a student organization or be involved on campus, I guess I need to get involved on campus and find another student organization to be a part of. So that led me to go into the Center for Student Involvement, where I met Michael Still along with Dr. Geiger and several other people that worked in that office, and they began to help me on the path that I continue to take up until now. once that started, that semester, I saw a lot of success working with Dr. Geiger and Michael Still, and along with alumni, we made several improvements with the Numero process. We had a lot of improvements in the chapter. We had the highest pledge class GPA that we've had in over about 10 years, just something ridiculous. We actually were higher than a 2.0, so it worked out pretty well. And along that track, I faced several difficulties with the active members we had, stuff like that. And I think the best quote or the best phrase I've ever heard about leadership that I got during this time was from one of our founding fathers for our chapter, which what he said to me when I was going through a tough time dealing with certain aspects of it was that he told me it's a lot easier to sit back and do nothing than it is to stand up for what's right. And that's something that stuck with me and that hit me hard from the beginning, because I know coming from my standpoint, my viewpoint, leadership is hard. It's hard to lead my fellow peers, and I know for sure it's hard for faculty member and teachers and professors to lead students, because they probably don't want to listen half as near as what my fraternity brothers and stuff will. So moving forward, that semester I decided to run for chapter president, and so in November of 2012 I was elected for my first term as president of my fraternity. And when I was elected, that's when I found out that our chapter was in several $1,000s worth of debt to the national fraternity, that we had just failed accreditation, which is a process of basically just our fraternity rating amongst other Chi-Phi chapters in the nation, so we were one of the worst. And and we had accounts receivable over $12,000. So we barely even had any money to pay our utilities and stuff like that for our property. So right away I was thinking, what the hell did I just sign up for? But shortly after that, I was able to work with our alumni. I started getting a lot of our alumni and also faculty members. I started getting a lot of training. I attended our Alphas Academy, which is our President's Academy for our national fraternity. I attended Impact, which was a leadership training put on by the University of West Georgia. I attended Regional Leadership Alliance in Jacksonville, Florida, which was put on by our national fraternity. And all this time, I was implementing all this stuff that I was learning back into my fraternity and trying to make a lot of progress. And while I was completing all this training, implementing all the stuff that I was learning, and implementing all the stuff that I was learning from faculty and alumni at the same time, we were able to pay off all our debt before the spring semester even started. The spring semester, we ended up being accredited with distinction, which means we went from one of the worst chapters to one of the best. So that made me feel pretty good about myself. And just improved so much. And the biggest things that stuck out to me with the leadership values that I learned, there was 5 that just absolutely stuck out to me and that were spoken about in pretty much every leadership thing I've ever attended. And they're just the biggest ones to me. And the first one was you got to be accountable, hold yourself accountable, hold others accountable to that standard. You have to be honest. If I would have acted like nothing was going on, I probably would have never accomplished anything. But the fact that I believe I was able to be honest with faculty and with alumni, that's why we were able to have the success that we had. You have to be respectful. If you don't respect people, people aren't going to respect you. It's very simple, and you can take that into the classroom. I know it's hard to do, hard to give young people respect, but typically if you respect them, they'll treat you with that same kind of respect. You have to have a vision of what you want to accomplish, and the biggest thing is, the biggest aspect that I've ever thought of when thinking of leadership is it's selfless. Everything you do, when you do it in a leadership standpoint, it's for other people to get to follow you. It really is a selfless thing. A lot of these things I was doing at the time from when I was newly registered to getting elected as president, and I wasn't aware that I was doing them. So it helped bring that awareness when I took all that training. Since then, we've been accredited with distinction both semesters the past year. Our chapter was awarded Chapter of the Year this past spring at the University of West Georgia. This past fall, we completed over 400 hours of community service, whereas in the previous fall and spring, we completed maybe 30 hours. So taking the stuff that I've learned from faculty and leadership skills I've learned from training and with faculty and alumni, it's evident from a student point of view what we can do as a student where we're influencing our peers. It would truly be amazing to see what faculty and staff could do to continue to lead the student body of the University of West Georgia to the things that we can accomplish. All this training, all this experience that I've gotten from being chapter president, the stuff I've done in my fraternity, it's led me to have career aspirations to hopefully be a CEO of a company one day or CFO. I'd like to continue to lead through my professional career as I have as in my student career. It's given me great experience, and all that's due to the University of West Georgia. I said that my first 2 years I wasn't really involved at the University of West Georgia. Those 2 years were probably my least favorite years I've had at the university. I considered leaving. Those were my worst years academically, and then it's amazing when you have the students get involved. Those tend to be the ones that give back to the university, that appreciate it the most, and that's at the standpoint I'm at now. And I guess what I'm trying to do is help connect y'all with the purpose of why y'all are here and why y'all do all the things y'all do, which is to help us become better so we can give back to our university in the long run. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned, is that even when you don't think people are watching you, there's always someone that's looking up to you. Being a staff and faculty, I know that depending on what department I'm walking through, I'll probably have a question, and be someone in this room that I'll look to and hope for an answer. And so people look up to you all the time. Students look up to everyone in this room because y'all are the ones that are supposed to be leading us in the right direction, giving us the right advice. So I guess I hope that sits well with y'all, helps y'all with y'all's purpose for the rest of the weekend. I appreciate y'all letting me come and talk to y'all for a bit and share my experience as an undergraduate at the University of West Georgia. But that's pretty much all I got. I'll be hanging around for a few minutes, I suppose, if you're in trouble to talk to me or anything. But that's pretty much all I got. I hope you'll have a great weekend and learn a lot. Thank you.